Hello everyone, welcome to Open Heart Oracle. This is a pick a card reading. So pile 1 is the thread, pile 2 is the underworld, and pile 3 is the crone. Just use your intuition to pick your card. Also, just a quick disclaimer, you may hear signs of life in the background, such as barking dogs. Okay, I'll see you in the piles. Okay, welcome to pile 1. If you chose this pile, you picked the thread. The lighting is not the best, but we have a beautiful view out the window. So we're starting with the thread. And we're going to pull some tarot. Okay, let's see. What does pile 1 need to know? Connecting to the divine and the energy of the collective. And all energies, bringing them through sources, bright white light, and asking for assistance from any beings, that terrified me, any beings or more than human kin that have the purest intentions for pile 1. Let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, so we have Ace of Wands. There is definitely a brilliant opportunity or like divinely inspired gust of inspiration or motivation. We have Queen of Pentacles, a lot of practicality coming through. And then we have Four of Pentacles. Okay. So it looks like there's been this period of like fog or vagueness where you're kind of walking through the murky waters of the unknown. If you're here, if you picked pile number 1, you might be on a feminine consciousness journey, meaning the way that you are doing things isn't working anymore, be it with your ideologies, your belief system, your values, and thus the way that you're showing up for yourself in your life and the things that you're choosing. And it looks like with the Ace of Wands and with the thread card, you're pulling in something that feels more alive, more true, and brings a source of inspiration and inner fulfillment. It's fulfilling that place in, especially in Western culture, where we have had a void around the sacred, around having reverence, and really just being able to move at a pace that's resonant with your own inner heartbeat. Not literally, but the beat of your soul. So when I see Queen of Pentacles, I see two things. And the first is like, there's a little bit of grief and sorrow in having to let this go, because it was a big part of your life. It could have been how you defined yourself or your like outward identity. So if you're thinking about this in an astrological perspective, it would be around your sun sign, like how people perceive you to be. But what you're moving towards is your North Node, the placement in your chart that really dictates your soul's calling, your kind of the blueprint of your destiny. And in your big 3, it would be moving more toward your rising sign, like the way that your soul wants to be expressed, or the things that you need on a soul level to feel satiated and fulfilled in life. And so there's sorrow because it feels like it's a move toward practicality. And the other way that I see the Queen of Wands, which I think both of these things could be true for the same person, in saying yes to this new thread, this new destination or desire or like whisper of a calling, by saying yes to this, or at least like putting your attention on it, it's actually serving you in a deeper way than any of the other dreams that you have had could ever. And because it's serving you so deeply, it's actually bringing a lot of stability abundance, simplicity. It's like moving away anything on your path that isn't serving you. And, you know, if you're on this feminine path, if you're integrating reverence for the feminine, a lot of the time what can happen is when you say, the more that you say yes to what's truly calling you and what's, I don't really like the phrase divinely aligned because it has a lot of connotations, and it kind of reminds me of law of attraction, where it's like, I have to be thinking positively, otherwise I'm fucking up. And that's not what I'm saying. It's like, you've just been getting signs and messages, whether it's been like chaos in your life or like a lot of destruction, or just like really simple desires and whispers that are coming through that that you haven't had before, like little nudges to go somewhere, right? Like the more that we listen to that, the more we walk out of the unknown and into clarity. And I just want to point out in this card, oh, this lighting is so terrible. I don't think I can adjust it. So we have the red thread that she's pulling, right? And the red thread always symbolizes a descent into feminine consciousness, because it is complete. It is a whole, within it is a whole cycle, meaning masculine spirituality is about ascending and like cutting parts of ourselves off, like removing ourselves from the body. Feminine consciousness and spirituality is about descending into the body. And so it takes everything that you have and it uses all of it, just the way that nature works, right? There's nothing wasted, nothing wanted. But up above this, we have a rainbow. And so it's like, by sitting in the unknown and saying yes to something that seems illogical, you're actually bringing yourself a lot of practicality and clarity with the Queen of Pentacles. I don't have much to say about the Four of Coins. I think this is just where you have been. This is like, this could be a somatic imprint as well, like something on the nervous system level, but it's something that's you've worked really hard for, or you've put a lot of effort toward, and it's starting to shift. But it's been this like very rigid aspect, sometimes in mostly in your unconscious, like places where it's not really in control. It's again on a nervous system level, where it's like, this is just your physiology keeping you safe. But it's like, I see you like breaking through this. And bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So I always see this very similar to the world, where we're completing a cycle and we're at a choice point. We get to choose what path we take, and there's never a wrong path, right? It's always for your highest and best, because you are a part of the universe. You're not separate from it. You're the universe expressing itself in a very unique way. So let's see if there's anything else that wants to come out with these cards, and then I might pull some more from the archetype deck. Okay, what else do we have for pile one? Anything from the tarot? I'm not going to take those. There we go. Okay, so we have the Knight of Cups. So I think as you've been moving through this, there's been a shit ton of emotions, either releasing, bubbling up, or things that you're resisting. And maybe it's just showing up as like depression, or this like old somatic blueprint, this old kind of rigidity, and maybe a feeling of stuckness. But, you know, if you think of a creek or a river flowing, like, stuckness doesn't have to be a detriment. It can be the river kind of rerouting itself because it needs to slow down, or it needs to take a different path. So in this way that the emotions are coming up and they're really being highlighted for you right now, just take them with a grain of salt, process them as much as you can. Like, do what you have the capacity to do, but know that they are like gallivanting through you to clearer waters, to kind of clean up the energy. And we're actually going to move toward the angel deck. And when I say clearing up the energy or cleaning it up, I mean bringing more clarity, anchored clarity in so that you can really anchor into this this new passion, this new desire that's actually really old. It's something from your childhood. It's just coming back up to the forefront to be re-expressed, to get your attention, to say like, hey, Remember when you were younger, you said you wanted these things, and there was something in your system that blocked you from saying yes or believing you could have them. But we want you to just hold that in your heart again. So let's see what the angel cards have to say about that. You're gonna flip. Okay, I think there's two here. I'll take them both. Okay, so we have Archangel Michael, and we have focus. So what I'm hearing with this is, yeah, like, do not get stuck in your emotions. Allow them to pass through you. And then if you can, like, go watch a funny reel on TikTok or Instagram, and make sure you're focusing on taking care of yourself and connecting to divine inspiration. You might not believe in angels, and if you don't, that's okay, but I find them to be very helpful, benevolent beings. And Archangel Michael is really, he is about connecting with lost souls and people who are on an adventure or a trip. He's known to protect travelers. So you're in this kind of cosmic journey. And if you're a woman or female identifying, what that means for you is you're descending inward. This isn't something that you have to go seek outside of yourself. You can literally do nothing different in your day, and you're still going to go through this epic journey, right? Because it's happening internally. So I would just say continue focusing on this desire. It doesn't mean you have to plan out like a 10-step task list for the rest of your week on how you're going to make this happen, but just to keep, when you start to get down into the depths, just reconnect it back to, hey, these emotions are coming up to get cleared. It's old karma or just stagnation in my body. Moving, going on a walk, doing fascia work is really, really helpful here. And when it comes up, remember that it's coming up because you're saying yes to something that's bigger than you. And we'll probably end with some of these guys. What do these guys have to say? Oh, this is so beautiful. So if you've been in my world, I always talk about getting the gem or the jewel from the seemingly unhelpful thing that's going on. So I think really this is about a pattern that you're breaking. And it could be small, it could be big, like significant to you, or fairly simple and really easy to do. Whatever part of the spectrum you're on, just know, like, you're doing really deep shadow work. If you like depth psychology, Marianne Woodman is someone to check out. She is, I think, one of the leading depth psychologists when it comes to feminine consciousness, and being able to do that shadow work and looking at these parts of yourselves that are, unseemly, and they're things that we don't want to admit about ourselves. And sometimes it's not just the dark secrets that we have, but it's like recognizing that you're the one self-sabotaging your own desire. And so going into your psyche and recognizing, okay, I'm saying I want this thing, but then when I get close to that thing, this is how my nervous system reacts. And playing with it that way, because there is a lot of information, jewels, and gems to be discovered. And then we have the temple. So yeah, this really is about that inner work, going internal, and finding some solace there. And I see this really tied with the Archangel Michael card. So I'll try to hold those up together. But if there's a temple or a place that you feel that is really holy to you, maybe like a creek, a river, a certain trailhead that you like to go on, or even a park, or, if you're in a place where you can't really get out, even just taking a walk outside or sitting in your backyard and finding that temple within, because when you go in nature, a lot of the information that you're looking for comes to you, and a lot of the problems that you have kind of fall away, and it can be a great way to recalibrate. So that's what I have for pile 1. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, hi pile 2. So we have the Underworld from the Archetype deck. Okay, let's see what goodies are coming through for you. So connecting to Source's bright white light energy, and asking to connect to any and all benevolent beings or more than human kin that have the purest intentions for pile 2 and the collective consciousness of pile 2. Please reveal to us what you would like us to know. Oh, okay, we have the Father and this beautiful pine tree silhouette. I'm going to pull one more archetype card. Oh my gosh, we got the thread. That's crazy. This is pile 1. Okay, so this might be a continuation from that reading. So in pile 1, I was really talking about like being in the unknown, and you're in the unknown because you're doing something different. You're making a choice that you've never made before. Like this is like cosmically aligned for you to make this decision, and it's not a decision that you can get wrong or like fuck up, so don't go there. But being in the unknown and being on that, making that choice and pulling the red thread, I was talking about feminine consciousness. And there's a book from a depth psychologist, Marion Woodman, called Leaving My Father's House, and it's all about just saying goodbye to like the rules, the rigidity, the dogma, the tradition that actually isn't aligned or that doesn't match up with your own value system. And so we might be feeling the inner teenager here, like the inner rebel or teen archetype, maybe your inner creative part. But let's see what the tarot cards have to say so we can get some more information. Okay, so the first 2 cards are cards that I pulled from pile 1, so just keep that in mind. It's the 4 of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. And the High Priestess and the 2 of Swords. Okay, great. 2 of Swords is one of my favorite cards. Where do I want to start? Okay, so we have the underworld, and from an untrained eye, this can look, I don't know, scary or grim. But there's actually so much depth and beauty here, and a desire to be seen for who you really are, to be seen for your soul, not, you know, the things that you do, not your job, not any sort of outwardly identifiable piece of character, right? Or way that you show up in the world. This is like wanting to be seen for your soul. And this sort of awakening of the feminine consciousness within, or this reemergence, right, of remembering, it can feel like there's a lot of turmoil. It can feel really heavy and like you're carrying a lot of burdens. It can feel like the journey, it never ends. But you're like a magic alchemist. You're transmuting the things that you say that you don't love about yourself. Not like, oh, I don't like this about myself, so I'm going to change. But like, this thing that I do, or this way that I am, really bothers me. Or I go unconscious in this one place in my life. And it's not a sign to immediately try to cut yourself off from it or change it. It's asking you to bring it into your heart. It's asking you to look at all of the ways it's actually helped you stay alive and find a deep appreciation for that, because that's when we will process our emotions and move forward as a more integrated person. That's how we really return to wholeness. And what I can see here from the 4 of Pentacles is like, sometimes this wasn't a choice. Sometimes this was just an automatic response from either however you grew up in childhood, or like a physiological safety mechanism, right? Like maybe it's having your amygdala online, you know, the reptilian part of your brain kind of controlling things to make sure you're safe. It's where we go into fight or flight, or maybe not even fight or flight. Maybe it's just like a kind of an automatic response or a bad habit, right? But it's like the grooves are deep. There are deep neural pathways for this experience. And what we're recognizing is you're doing a lot of heavy lifting right now. Emotions are coming in, they're coming in quickly. And with the emotions, with the tears, with the journaling, the processing, however you're doing this, first of all, it's perfect. You don't need to change anything. But secondly, it can feel like a flood or just really overwhelming, like it wipes you out. And they just want you to know that that's okay, that is actually a part of the process. Because now we have the High Priestess, and this is like the Queen of Secrets, right? She has hidden wisdom that has not yet been excavated or brought into your consciousness. And as you start to process your emotions, they will become clearer. But this is a part of your path. You are on purpose with this whole process taking place, even if it feels like hell. And with the Two of Swords, so this woman she's sitting down, she's blindfolded, and there's a huge sea, a huge view of the sea behind her. And she's holding two swords. So I always see this as a woman who's choosing to sit down and like just take a break. The unconsciousness is behind her, right? The ocean symbolizes our unconscious or your subconscious. And she's just making a choice to sit down. She has two options, two different ways to go, to two different points of clarity. And she can put the swords down and take the blindfold off whenever she's ready. And we also have the moon present here. So you are in a deeply unseen transformative process right now. But you still have choice. Like, this is what you asked for. Maybe it doesn't look the way that you thought it was going to look, but you are getting all of the things that you require for this next chapter of your life. So basically they're saying, please don't lose hope. Help is on the way. Let's see what the angel cards have to say to close out this reading. Okay, we have balance. And divine timing. So they really want you to take care of yourself right now, because I really think you're in the trenches. If this doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. You can just move on. But I think the balance that they want you to seek is doing this like deep inner work and not trying to force it, like trusting that like everything is divinely aligned. You're on time. And there's no forcing that needs to take place. Everything that's happening is like, there's so much more that's taking place than you can actually see. But one thing that you can do, if this is starting to feel really heavy, is just journal how you've changed over the last year. And there's a fly. Recognize that is important and that you are making strides and making progress. Okay, thank you so much, Pile 2. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, hi, Pile 3. We have the Crone. I love this card so much. It is like deep, ultimate, ancient wisdom. Things that aren't often passed down through even oral tradition. It's just wisdom that you come into this world with. I often associate the Crone with having really great sight. So being able to see what's happening, like the subtext of a conversation. You're paying attention to someone's energy, the way that they feel, everything that they're not saying, like you're very aware. But also just connecting to the wisdom of nature. Because we're not separate from it. We're a part of it. We've just been pretty disconnected through modern living and convenience and comfort. But these are certain keys that you are really connected to. So let's see what other archetypes want to come out. And really set the scene. Okay, so we have the gem. That card, I think, came up in pile number 1. And pile number 2 is definitely a continuation of pile number 1. It's funny, this is my first pick a card reading, and every time I watch a pick a card and they say that, I'm always so skeptical. But it was really funny because so many of the same cards came out for pile 2. So I think it could just be, this could just be watched as one long reading. Oh my goodness. I don't want to take those. I just want one more. So can you just share one more, please? Very specifically. And then the orphan. Okay, so you might be leaving your family of origin. You might be taking a risk and leaving what's familiar to you, what you've known. The gem really symbolizes the gifts and the clarity and the wholeness that get excavated out of the darkness or the unconscious parts of us, our subconscious behaviors. So let's see what the tarot has to say. What does pile 3 need to know? Need about 4 or 5 cards here. Okay, we have Judgment. I'm not taking those. We have Judgment, the Magician, and 6 of Swords. I'm gonna pull one more. And then the Queen of Swords. Yeah, I'm pulled to the 6 of Swords. So there's grief, but there's also a lot of hope and excitement for a new possibility. And it may have been really difficult for you to leave this situation or this group think, maybe a system or a group of people that have held you for a really, really long time and been your support. But as you're leaving them, you're going on this massive epic journey. You know, and we see a woman being carried away in a little boat with a child. And so in this way, I think you're doing it because you're protecting yourself, and you're not doing it in this way where you're like triggered and you're saying like, fuck everyone else. Like there's not resentment that's motivating you to do this. You're doing this because you know it's the right thing to do. And you're doing it because you want to carve a new path. You want to take responsibility for your life. I'm going to pull an angel card too to round this out. So surrender and release. Well, with the Queen of Swords and the Magician, it just lets me know like everything is going to be okay, or everything's okay. It's like you've gone through this experience, whether it's been really emotional and heavy, or there's just been like a lot of kind of chaotic energy in your life because you haven't been choosing, you haven't been making choices based on what you need. You've been making them based on what you think you should be doing. But with the Queen of Swords, she is like so clear and so fierce in the way that she rules. And she's just not taking any bullshit. You know, she's just not gonna sit in the same mess anymore that she didn't create, but she can see so clearly, and she's recognizing she can't save other people from themselves. She really can only tend to her own needs. And if people don't want to come with her, or if they don't want to listen to her, that's on them. And I love the Magician because this card holds all of the suits. So you have all of the elements on your side. The Judgment card is throwing me off a little bit, but I think that this is connected because it's almost like a resurrection. It is a resurrection in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, but it's like you're giving yourself a new chapter. You're giving yourself a new lease on life. You looked at some things. You took an inventory of the way that your life was going. You recognized that you have the power to change that. Whether you have the energy to like make a lot of those shifts right now that's not necessarily what we're talking about. We're just recognizing that like you've made a decision, you have the clarity, you know what you need to do, you are making moves to walk away, and it's just a very, it's going to be a process. It's going to be an experience that requires you to feel your feelings. And we have surrender and release. So I guess this really is like releasing your pain, old emotions that maybe have been stagnating in your system. Yeah, and just giving yourself a little bit of grace and recognizing like you have the crone energy within you. Not everyone can relate to that, but you will find your tribe because we are all over, I promise. We are all around. I'm pulling some more tarot because there's just something that still feels a little paused, or like, yeah, I'm feeling the Hanged Man, and I just want to get a little bit more clarity around what's going on. So can we get some more clarity for the collective of pile number 3? We have Ace of Cups, we have Queen of Pentacles, is that 8 of Wands? And 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is something that you've been thinking about for a long time. You've been working toward for a long while. It's not a decision you're making lightly either. I would just want to say that. But there is going to be a lot of renewed energy coming toward you from this move, from this shift in your life. And Queen of Pentacles, we have a lot of practicality. We have a lot of stability coming your way. And what I also can see is like you've worked to a certain point. It might have even been like really the last 3 years, but you've done so much work and everything is like you're at this culmination point. And so things are going to feel, maybe they might feel slow to you in the material plane, but in the spiritual world, things are moving quickly. And so this is like a call to action. This is actually asking you to start to put yourself out there and take some steps toward a new community, a new group of friends, like letting people into your life, even if there's just one person that you can let in a little bit deeper and be a little bit more yourself around. Do it in like really small spurts or like little check-in texts. Yeah, because you're leaving behind this feeling of like spiritual poverty by making this decision. And because you're making this decision that's so scary and it feels like you're jumping off a cliff and you really do feel alone, they want you to know that you are deeply supported. Like you have the Magician, you have Queen of Wands, you have Queen of Pentacles, you have 8 of Wands. Like we have evidence of you working really hard. You have the fucking crone, you have the gem. Like you are going to get a lot of benefits. And if you're still feeling very alone or orphaned in any way, they just want you to hang on. Because you have so much to give the world. Even in these like really small moments in your life, you have a lot to offer the world. You have this like fresh, alive perspective that doesn't always exist in our modern culture. Okay, that's what I have for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.